can you actually give financial advice without a license? Do you have to have that financial license to do anything, or is it unnecessary? Well, that's where I'm diving in this video right now. Okay, so do you need a license to be able to give financial advice? That is the question. There's no doubt there's lots of financial advice in the media, social media, everywhere you turn, there's people giving financial advice. Heck, I'm sure even your family members are trying to give you financial advice. Does it mean you have to have a license? Not necessarily, but there are some that do require a license. So let's talk about in this video, when does it actually require a license versus what financial advice doesn't require a license. All right, so let's talk about what financial advice actually requires licensing. Because we hear all the time, like financial advisors, right? Financial planners or certified financial planners or CFP. You get all these kind of things. Well, what really defines financial advice? Now, just so you know, in general, anyone can give financial advice, good or bad, right? Anybody can give financial advice. But there are some distinctions here. Because, for example, a financial advisor, who are often considered financial advisors, I was one of them. And I guess some people might even classify me as a financial advisor in the sense that I give financial advice, which is also why I got the nickname from some of my clients as being the anti-financial advisor, because I tell people to not follow financial advisor's advice. As if you're on this channel, Money Ripples channel, you'll know this. But again, those kind of things, like if you're a financial advisor, financial planners, typically you're gonna have some kind of license. Now, if you're calling yourself a financial planner, usually they have a CFP or Certified Financial Planner license. Now, I will just tell you this, to become licensed in any of these things, and of course I had licenses at one point, especially when I was a traditional financial advisor over 20 years ago, I had life insurance licenses, health insurance licenses, I had securities licenses of various forms, things to be able to offer mutual funds or sell you mutual funds or sell, and ethics and things like that. I had all these different types of licenses. I was even studying for another license as well to become more of a money manager. And these licenses are great if you're trying to sell and offer certain types of business. They really are a license to sell, not a license to give advice. So for example, I had a series, what's called a Series 6 and a Series 63. In short, those are just the licenses you need to have if you're gonna offer your clients mutual funds. So if I wanna offer IRAs and 401ks or any kind of mutual funds in general, Roth IRAs, whatever it might be, annuities even, or variable annuities. Life insurance license allowed me to sell indexed or fixed annuities, but if I want to do variable annuities tied to the stock market, I had to have these 6 and 63 licenses. So I held all of these licenses so that I could pretty much offer the general suite of products that most financial advisors can offer. Now, I didn't have a Series 7. I wasn't stock trading or anything like that. Although people that are stockbrokers will have a Series 7, right, versus a Series 6 like I had. There are different licenses that do different things. But I was, of course, the one that wanted to have for the mutual funds because that's typically what a financial advisor offers you. Now, I will tell you this. What's so interesting about those tests is one, once I figured out the little hack, it wasn't hard to pass those tests. In fact, I would just cram, a day or two before and then take the test, get the license, and I'd move on. And it didn't mean that I was a financial expert. It didn't mean I would give you great advice. Now, of course, I had to go through a lot of hoops and they would tell you what should be good. And of course, if you don't want to break the rules, that's what that Series 63 is to say, hey, here's the code of ethics you should follow, and suitability and things like that, right? But for the most part, really, I could give any kind of advice I wanted as long as it felt within the purview of mutual funds and insurances, right? Which is the stereotypical stuff that financial advisors offer. But if I wanted to start charging you fees, there's a different license for charging you fees. If I wanted to start, doing something where I was trading stocks and bonds and things like that, there's a different license for that. If I want to actively manage the portfolios versus just send people to mutual funds, there's a license for that. And there's even things in the life insurance space, different licenses beyond just a life insurance license you can get too, more of a life insurance planner and things like that. So if you're trying to get all these licenses, it's more of a formality than anything, right? Again, it just gives you the license to sell, but not gives you a license to give great advice. Now, what about everybody else? What about the people that are in the media and social media and influencers? The truth is, they can say whatever they want, even if they don't have a license. Now, if they try to sell you something like sell you into a specific mutual fund and they get compensated for it, they better have a license. Remember, it's a license to sell, not a license to give advice. But you got guys like Dave Ramsey, he doesn't have any kind of certification at all, right? He's just a TV and radio personality that now is giving people all this advice, and he's giving bad advice sometimes, And is there any accountability for it? No, because guess what? Because he's of the entertainment value. He's an entertainer, not so much a financial advisor. The great thing is he can say whatever he wants, and even if you take his advice and lose money, there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing that governs him. He can just say whatever his opinion is, and you take it. Now they'll tell you maybe like they can't give financial advice. I'll say that a lot of times. I'll say I'm not giving investment advice. I'm not an investment advisor. I'm not an RIA or registered investment advisor or anything like that. So I tell people very clearly, even our own one-on-one clients, when we're strategizing with them, hey, we're not investment advisors. We can't tell you you should go do any investments, but we can tell you here's the cause and effect. Here are the consequences if you do certain things. Just like a financial advisor talking about tax consequences. They can tell you here's the consequences of the tax rules, but consult with your CPA, right? That kind of thing. Same thing with us, right? So even me on YouTube, now I do have licenses that I have. I still have some of my insurance licenses that I hold, but that's about it. I dropped my securities licenses actually back in 2005 because I was starting to stock coach people. I was teaching people how to trade stocks and options. The broker that I worked for didn't like that. They said either you stop coaching people or you drop your license. And I said, buy a license. Like I like coaching people, so I did that instead. So that's actually why I dropped my licenses, some of those securities licenses in 2005. Best decision ever, by the way. It was awesome. So much more liberating because I'll tell you, people that have those licenses are so restricted about what they can even do on camera. If they actually record a video like this, they have to submit it back to their company and wait through all the red tape for that to come back. So lucky for you, we can pump out videos and not have to let somebody else go through them and say, well, can he say this word? He used the word guarantee. That's illegal, right? Well, I guarantee you're gonna have a fun time. I guarantee that a lot of that advice is crap. There, I said it and nobody can do anything about it because I use the word guarantee. So anyways, that's the difference. So do you need a license? No, and that's the good and the bad. The licenses, they help. Yes, they can give them some training, but just don't understand, financial advisors that with licenses don't mean they're financial experts. It doesn't mean that they know how to grow their money and make it work. This is why I tell people all the time on our channel, even on our Money Ripples podcast, I'm sharing information all the time about what I've actually been able to do and what I've helped clients do as well. Because we've gotten way better results than financial advisors ever have. Why? Because we don't buy into that traditional crap that doesn't work anyways and hasn't worked for so many years. Yet they keep teaching it like it does. They're selling people on hopium. They're smoking that little hopium, hoping that someday they might be able to have something, that they might actually have some freedom, and then they don't get it. Same thing with social media influencers. They can say whatever they want, good or bad, and even if they're popular, guys, some of the most popular people give you some of the worst advice ever. And so if you're trying to look for good advice, one, just so you know, if you want to give financial advice, you can give anybody financial advice, your neighbor or whatever. You just can't sell them on stuff that gets you paid for that financial advice, unless you have certain licenses. But you can go give your opinion whenever you want to whomever you want. Doesn't mean it's good. And so if you're the person on the receiving end, you want to get good advice, I recommend you go for those people that have actually had experiences, they've actually accomplished what you're trying to achieve in their own life, and even more importantly, they've helped others do the same. This is why we teach about passive income. I refused to teach about passive income for several years because I wasn't out of the rat race. I wasn't financially independent myself. Once I got to the point where I had passive income coming in again, and I was getting myself out of the rat race, then I started bringing that teaching to my clients. Because I don't want to teach something I don't do. I did that as a financial advisor, and I hated it. I felt horrible because I knew I was out of integrity, just like most financial advisors are. Ask your financial advisor next time you see them. Say, hey, listen, if you didn't have any money coming in from your business side, just your investments, would your investments be able to help you retire today? And see what they answer. And I'll tell you, at least 99% of the time, if they're being honest, they're gonna say no. I'm not there yet, right? And it's always gonna be that way because I've known guys that were doing this for 30 plus years, still weren't there yet, right? They still weren't able to be financially independent. Where I've had people do it in less than 5 or 10 years sometimes more than 10 years, but still a lot less than 30, 40 years. That is the difference. Go for advice that actually has been proven to work in their life, their own life, and the lives of those that they help. All right, so you guys have heard me talk about this. We give lots of different counsel and different opinions and whatnot. Again, I don't give investment advice, but if you want to learn more, especially about what are the different options, what's outside of what those financial advisors offer that do have those licenses that may not necessarily make you more money, but makes them money for sure. What's the best way? Follow our Money Ripples podcast on this channel. So be sure to subscribe to this Money Ripples channel right now so you can get updated every Wednesday and Friday when our podcasts come out. Do that right now.